is Hazel Nassau, and I'm from Camrose, and I probably have the distinction of being having the smallest farm of anybody here. My husband and I bought our 130-acre farm a little over 60 years ago. The reason I'm here tonight primarily is because I felt the need to honor my deceased husband's great and ardent support of the wheat board. And he really and truly believed in it. And now, quite apart from that, I'm here for myself too, because I believe in it. And one of the reasons I believe in it is I read a lot. I read any columns of back and forth on both sides, and I am convinced that the wheat board will do the best possible for all of us farmers, and particularly for small farmers. I think we really need the wheat board. And for all of the reasons that have already been described, I don't need to go into those. It's interesting. Recently, I read an article that indicates that some of the big multinational food companies are sitting in the wings, salivating while they wait to get a hold of our people and start the negotiation. And I'm also so offended by the high-handed, maybe I should even say underhanded way the government is handling this. And I'm really offended by the fact that they are pushing this without the consultation of the farmers. And my question is, do you think, in view of the attitude that our government and the minister has regarding the wheat board, do you think that a plebiscite or meetings like this or anything any of us can do will help them to change their mind and let us keep the wheat board? Thank you.
I would have to say that I certainly do believe that it is possible to have the government listen to the voters of this country. I mean, it is a political it's a political act, I guess, if you will, that is taking place. And if they're convinced that farmers, voters, that there is a political price to pay for going ahead in the fashion that they seem basically convinced that they have to go ahead, I believe that there is a chance to have them take a second thought, another look at this, and hopefully change their mind. So is it possible? Yes. But it's going to require farmers to be there with the directors of the wheat board, because there's only 15 people on that board, and it's very easy to ignore 15 people. It's not easy to ignore the thousands of farmers who have here. So yes, with your support, with farmer support, and the support of other citizens, yes, we can make a difference.
Thank you. The gentleman who's been patiently waiting at microphone 2.
Yeah, I'm John Flint from Norway. We've been farming there since 1905. Just a couple of questions. One, it's my grain, and if I want to sell it somewhere, it should be up my right since I grew it. We raise purebred cattle, and I can sell my purebred cattle all over the world. Number two, your plebiscite. Since I grow over 1,200 tons of barley a year, and I sell it in the feed industry, you did not send me any plebiscite voting stuff. And I know I can find it somewhere, but you're stacking the deck in the other way too. You talked about the government. You're no damn better.
Just in regards to the plebiscite, we did try to make it as inclusive as... No, I'll answer the question here. We did try to make the plebiscite as inclusive as possible. Anybody that had a current permit book or a permit book the year previous was automatically, and had delivered wheat or barley, was automatically mailed a plebiscite. And anybody that had grown wheat or barley in a rotation in the last 5 years could receive a ballot through statutory declarations. All you had to do was call Mars North Spending. Pardon? Well, the wheat board would have no record. If you hadn't made deliveries, the wheat board would have no record of that, and there's no way you could be automatically sent a ballot.
microphone 1.
My name is Garrett Stokes. I'm from Bazaar, Alberta. And in response to you, we won't give up our freedoms to vote for your freedoms to sell where you want. My question are directed towards Mr. Jeff Neilsen from District 2. Last night, farmers from our area eager to learn about the pros and cons of the Canadian Wheat Board and the plebiscite drove over 2 hours to Medicine Hat to attend the meeting there. Over the course of the meeting, I was impressed by the openness and clarity with which the Board of Directors discussed the situation and answered their critics. I was disappointed, however, not only by the fact that you, as my district's elected official, chose not to stand alongside your members and defend your position, but also by your refusal to answer a direct and simple question by another farmer. Your choice to not respond to the perfect embodiment of our government's plan to remove the Wheat Board, strong in its belief but unable and unwilling to defend that belief to farmers effectively. There is no business plan to support it. I feel there's no respect for the farmers, no respect for the law, and no respect for democratic principles with what they put forward. And I know that you personally don't support the single desk, but you support our right to a plebiscite, our right to choose.
No, I appreciate that. Great question. And I agree, I wasn't a participant in last night's meeting. I wasn't sure how I would respond to the meeting. As most people do know, I do support choice marketing, and I was elected on that platform. I do have some questions when it does come to the plebiscite. We talk about democracy, we talk about one farmer, one vote. We have that in our federal elections or provincial elections. We have the freedom to choose what organizations we want to belong to, be the NFU, Wall Growers, Wheat Growers, Barley Growers, and they're a voluntary organization. I have a concerns when it comes to the plebiscite when we're talking about democracy when as this gentleman that just unfortunately stormed out of the room, it is a hoop to jump for a lot of producers who grow grains who have decided not to participate in the Wheat Board marketing anymore. So it's a hoop there. Why do we have to have a hoop? The law actually, the Act states it's the minister who calls the question. Now the minister could, if he really wanted to hold a true plebiscite, could through various crop insurance, through Revenue Canada, devise a true voters list, you could say. There's also a lot of questions about multiple ballots going to a single household. Is that true democracy when one household gets multiple ballots, when myself as a corporation, I only get one ballot? So I have a lot of questions about how the website is, and I looked at our producer surveys for a lot of guidance. And our most recent producer survey in June, I'll speak specifically on one item that's close to my heart, and that's barley. 37% support for the single desk in barley. It's never been much higher than that, to be honest with you, with 12, 13 years of doing surveys. If we are, as your board of directors, listening to producers, then why haven't we listened to barley producers that told us? And actually, the margin of error on our surveys is about 3 to 5%. Is what our pollster tells us. So I have no questions there. So no, the Valley is very valid point. It's great to see the passion for a young farmer in District 2, and it's great to see the questions, all the questions here tonight. It's great to have the views of everybody. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Jeff. We'll take a couple more questions at microphone 1.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Corey Olin, and I'm from the Smoky Lake and Newbrook area. And I was around farming when oats was unilaterally taken off the Wheat Board without any producer consultation or vote of any kind by the government of the day. So of course I totally support the notion that there should be a producer plebiscite before any change of the Wheat Board's mandate is contemplated. After that little oats fiasco, of course, I think oats was about $2.12 a bushel when it was marketed to the board, and then shortly thereafter, you couldn't buy a cup of coffee in a coffee shop with a bushel of oats after it was taken off the board. So I became an organic farmer, And as usual, I take exception to the views of my longtime fellow organic farmer, Steve Schneider. We've debated this many times. I do not support ending the monopoly because it's clearly, to me, not about choices and options in niche marketing, but it's all about market power. Anyone selling on their own, quite frankly, has less market power than those selling together. And I personally know organic farmers who have actually ended up competing against their own product and lowering their own price just to move product into a market. So every farmer should understand that this is our one common problem, and that is that we have little or no market power overall, especially when we're acting as individual producers in markets that are dominated by giants and increasingly fewer and fewer of those giants. So of course my view is we need to strengthen and improve our means of bolstering our market power rather than eroding it in the name of choice that's bound to evaporate in the open market system. My question for Mr. Ober is, in light of all this niche marketing, can you explain the benefits of the buyback program? And I understand it has its pitfalls from time to time, but can you explain the benefits of the buyback program for individual sellers of distinct products?
Gord's going to respond to this.
Ober can't answer the question.
The short answer is that the benefit of the buyback program or the producer direct sales system is that it protects the benefits that the single desk is able to achieve by price differentiating between all those markets. If you didn't have it, that's the main benefit. The other benefit is that it does allow farmers who want to sell to any one of those markets and is able to achieve some sort of a premium because of the quality of what you've got or the relationship that you might have with an individual customer. If you can do better than what the CWB can do selling into that market, then the producer direct sales system allows you to do that. So it protects the pool revenue for all farmers, and it does facilitate the sale by individual farmers to any market that you choose.
Thank you. Microphone 2.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Neil Gorda from Warrington. Just 2 comments first. The first one was I stood up the mic before the last session, and the fellow was saying, yes, I want to be able to market my grain to the small mills or whatever else. But over the last 10 years, and this is a study done and announced about a month ago, that the secondary and tertiary manufacturing in Western Canada on agriculture end has gone down, not gone up. And why is that? That's because of globalization. Companies move to where they can produce the cheapest, and that's where the cheapest labor is. And secondly, for the fellow that just stormed out of here, just because he has a car that can go 250 miles an hour doesn't mean he can drive it. We've got laws of the land, and the democracy has to rule. He can't do whatever he wants. As he wishes he can. My question is that we have a plebiscite put forward by the Canadian Beef Board, and if I can look into my crystal ball, I can say with reasonable confidence that there'll be at least 70% plus in favor of retaining the Canadian Wheat Board. What do we have to do to convince these boneheads in Ottawa and Alberta and Saskatchewan in these legislatures and Parliament that democracy has to rule, that they must respect the vote of the producer? I don't understand what we have to do more than we are doing today and with the plebiscite to change their mind.
Thank you.
Even if they say yes to the open market, we're not going to oppose any changes to that particular grain. So we're calling on the minister to do exactly the same, respect the results of the plebiscite, listen to what a majority of farmers are saying, and anything you can do as far as writing letters to your MP, phone calls to your MLAs, please do that, because This is a battle that needs to be fought on many fronts and by many people.